Hello, my friends. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is get some good questions from the audience out there and not provide answers, but at least provide a response to them. I get a lot of really fantastic questions in emails, just personal people coming up to me, and online in general. And the thing is I can give one person the answer, but a lot of times there's so many good questions out there, and a lot of teachings actually the biggest part of making a teaching oftentimes is finding that right answer. And so what I want to do is just kind of start doing some little quick videos like this. I got some new equipment that I'm trialing out with this video too, that hopefully will make it really easy for me to just sit down and do a quick little response to a question that's out there. So the question that I want to deal with today was one that was posed to me at this year's Treasures of the Temple conference. And by the way, if you haven't gone to one of those, they're amazing. This year we had a great time, even though Joseph Good was not able to be there due to some personal loss. That was, something that really kind of was so sad. And anytime there's loss, it's devastating. But even through that, we were able to have a just amazing time there. Learning about God's temple, checking out Rico's VR. If you guys haven't seen that yet, it's pretty amazing. So the question that I got asked that really was just fantastic was, we had Dina and myself, we have recently released a series which is called Revelation Unmasked, and we touched just a little bit on some of the aspects at this conference. And the question that someone came up to me afterwards, they said, this is something that's always kind of been on my mind, and it's there in Revelation when you read the introduction to it. There is a blessing for those who hear it and those who obey. And what does it mean to obey? What does it mean to obey? And that's just a fantastic question, because the thing is that for so long, especially in the evangelical Protestant circles, the book of Revelation has been taken to mean, well, this is a book foretelling the future, and it's all about predictions and timelines and stuff like that. And so the obedience aspect of it obviously kind of raises some questions like, wait a minute, obey what? Like, does this mean there's a blessing for those who decode the message? And of course, that's kind of been the subtle implied message in the dispensationalist rapture movement, is that it's all been a mystery, and it's a blessing for those who are able to decode it, to figure it out. And if you come to our prophecy conference, we will help you decode it and figure it out so that you can receive this blessing too. But that's not what the book actually says the blessing is there for. The blessing is for obedience. So how do you obey the book of Revelation? Fantastic question. Fantastic question. This is why I believe it is so important for us to first try to understand, what did the why did the original audience receive this letter and go, wow, this is amazing. This actually means something to my very life, and I need to keep it. And then the next generation said, oh, wow, we got this book. It's amazing. Let's figure out what it means to our lives today, and let's figure out how this continues to impact us as a community. And so, if you've studied a little bit with myself or Rico or anyone, Dina Dye, anyone who's kind of been in this, you will probably have heard of this term called imperial cult. Imperial cult. And this is the best response, in my opinion, to the question of what does it mean to obey. You see, the audience that received the book of Revelation, they lived in a world saturated with imperial cult worship. And in imperial cult worship, it was all centered around this idea that Caesar is your god, Rome is a god itself, and everything in your everyday life revolved around worship of the emperor and the empire. If you went to the marketplace and you wanted to buy and sell, you had to offer up incense to Caesar. If you wanted to go to a party, parties were all about worshiping Caesar. It was of course other gods in there, but this imperial cult aspect was really growing. And it's something that if you read the symbolism in the book of Revelation, you'll see this imperial cult just popping up everywhere, everywhere. And so, what is the book of Revelation doing? What is the book of Revelation doing? Well, for a long time, scholars had thought, well, there was a lot of persecution going on, and it was a call to persevere through this persecution. Well, more evidence has come to light. First off, showing that there wasn't as much persecution as we had originally thought. And moreover, when scholars took this information, they went back and they looked at the book of Revelation, they quickly realized, wait a minute, there's only one person who has actually died for the faith, and he's named. He's named, which would imply that this was a rare occurrence. Now, this doesn't mean that there was not persecution, but as we've discovered through archaeological inquiries and stuff like that, we've discovered that the persecution was actually very localized. It wasn't government mandated. More often than not, it was because these people were failing to worship the empire, failing to worship the emperor, that their own neighbors, their own family members were persecuting them. Think about when you have made some change in your life that goes against the grain, when perhaps you've stopped celebrating a certain holiday. And what do family members and friends, what do? They pile on that persecution because you're going against the norm. And this is what was going on in Asia Minor in these early Christian communities. And so the message of Revelation, while it is to persevere against this persecution, there was another huge problem. And it was people were not persevering. People were basically kind of giving in. Because life under the Roman Empire was very good. It was very good. You had public water, you had infrastructure to bring in food, and also, think about this, local crops, there's only a certain amount of local growth that oftentimes that can be supported. And so you're bringing in spices and things like this from all these other places, and life becomes good, and complacency is on the rise. And so the book of Revelation is focusing in on, look, these things look amazing. This goddess Roma, she looks amazing. But in reality, she's a harlot. In reality, this empire, which seems to be bringing you all these wonderful things in life, in reality, they are a beast system, and they're running on the blood of saints. And so, what is this obedience aspect? The obedience aspect in the book of Revelation I propose to you is all about wake up. Get out of this brain fog that has been created, that you've been lulled into by the comforts of empire, and realize the evil, realize the death, the suffering that is being caused by this empire, and realize that this empire is causing you to direct your worship away from the one true God and towards the empire. You notice how much worship is in the book of Revelation. The obedience aspect is obey by worshiping God and not by worshiping the empire. Now, think about how is that message taken forward to today? Is there any significance in that message today? Many of us live in first world countries where life is grand, where we have an abundance of things, where you can click a button and within 2-3 days, something from some other country that was produced in some other country can arrive at your doorstep. You don't even have to leave your home anymore. We have to wake up. We have to realize that the times where, now, look, I'm not saying we have to escape to the hills and live as people completely outside of society, but we realize certain companies, their practices bring suffering upon people. Their practices destroy people's lives, and these are beast-like traits. And the book of Revelation speaks to us today, asking us to not give in to those things, to not give in to empire, to worship the one true God, and not depend on the government as our source of sustenance. Amen? All right. Well, if you enjoyed that and you have some other questions, feel free to send them to me through social media, email, whatever the case may be. I can't guarantee I'm going to answer them. And again, I'm not even trying to answer questions here. I'm just responding to questions. But yeah, there's some questions that honestly, they're toxic, and we need to avoid these debates about shape of the earth and things like that. We want to focus in, or at least I want to focus in on with my ministry. I want to focus in on things that edify people. So if you have a question that is great, that is edifying, please let me know, and we're going to try to do more of these more often. So hope you guys enjoyed. Shalom.